What's going on, Cancer? And welcome to the Chariot Friends. Justin here, and I hope you're feeling fantastic today. So, for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, shares, donations. Your support really is just phenomenal, Cancer, and you keep us growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy Higher Self has brought you here. You are in for an amazing journey. Now, the purpose of this channel are for those of you who have Cancer in your placement. Sun, moon, rising, wherever, Cancer. This one's for you. And I do tarot card spreads based off our ruler here, the good old moon. And I'll discuss what sign she's in, what phase she's in, when she's going void, of course, just all those lunar shenanigans. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me. Never force a reading on a situation, and everything will be gravy, Cancer. Now, let's jump into it. Your space has been cleansed. Gems are feeling fantastic. It's just good energy all around here, Cancer. Now, the moon went void, of course, yesterday at about 7:52, and that's going to be p.m., and that's Central Time. And she entered Virgo at today at about 9:14 in the morning. So, depending on when you're watching this, you might still got a little bit of Leo energy there, but now we're shifting gears to Virgo. And with the moon being in Virgo, this is kind of this is more of a demanding and organized emotional nature here. We're definitely going to might be feeling more efficient at this time, but definitely be careful about maybe being too hard on yourself. Virgo energy can be can potentially be overly critical. And also, emotions kind of take on like an analytical flavor, and you might be kind of apt to like investigate your feelings as opposed to like maybe really just sort of like feeling them out there. And this is a good time with that energy too, Cancer, because the moon is still in a waning gibbous or a disseminating moon, and this is a time for reflection here. So if we have any kind of strong feelings about any sort of tweaks that we had to make or anything along this journey, Cancer, sit with that, analyze that, see why we're getting these type of responses here, and then let's see what growth is coming from that. And then last thing, in case y'all were curious, the deck that I'm using is the Everyday Witch Tarot deck, and I've included a link for this deck and other decks that I like using down in the description box below, so definitely check that out if you're interested, Cancer. But with all that housekeeping out of the way, let's get into your reading here. And your first card is going to be just like the general energy of the day. So, Higher Self, what's the general energy looking like for Cancer today? Let's see what's cooking up in your world, Cancer. Of course. The Wheel of Fortune, Cancer. Okay, so philosophizing, take two. Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune is, I don't know what can we talk about the Wheel of Fortune today, Cancer? This is, what, Cancer? I've been thinking about, especially just like the past few days, just like what it kind of means, once you found that thing that, what you found that is like kind of like your calling, or, that speaks to you, that you just know in your heart of hearts you were meant to do this thing, you enjoy doing this thing. And one of the things that I think about, that maybe kind of help kind of push this along, Cancer, or maybe kind of get this to a place where we can get a little more clarity about what this destiny or, what this fate kind of looks like for you here. Is maybe, I watched this interesting video, and this guy had made a thing. It's like, how will I know that this is my destiny? And it's like, when you're willing to do this thing, when you're willing to do a thing, regardless of if you're going to get anything back from it or not, you're just doing this thing just to create more in the world, Cancer. I feel like this is, if this is something that you've been pondering, because Cancer, I tell you, the Wheel of Fortune has been following you all over the place here. And I also feel like this might be too for some of you Cancers. Start thinking about this type of stuff here. Maybe if we've been in the place of where we just been sort of going through the 9 to 5, or maybe just like and it's not that I hope you'll understand what I mean when I say this, Cancer, but it's just like, maybe we're if we've been in this place of where we've been kind of supporting someone else's dream, whether that be however that's looking like for you, Cancer, let's try to find some time. Let's make some time for us to support our own dream here, because I feel like it's going to be one of those things that when it comes to your destiny, it's got to be something that I feel like you have to put your all in. It's like how when you hear. A good example I can think of is like if you were to watch like interviews with like musicians or maybe artists or dancers or anyone in sort of like the creative in that creative realm, they're the types that are like, this is what they love, they poured their all into it. They eat, sleep, breathe this thing. And it's not to say to work yourself to the ground, Cancer, but it's just to have this where that's in your realm all the time. When you wake up, you're doing this thing, this is you're building your life. You're shaping your day around your dream and what makes you happy and brings you fulfillment, as opposed to working this wheel of fortune into this matrix here, into this system here that's really, and take it as it resonates. But I feel like we're in a place where this system doesn't really support us wanting to follow our dreams and to really do what our hearts desire here. That there seem to be so many limitations and gaps and things in that, Cancer. And I can get where sometimes where we want to break free from this stuff, but we still maybe feel shackled by certain things. But I feel like what's going to release you, Cancer, is going to be just starting to focus on what makes you happy, and however that looks, and just start filling your world up with that thing. And I feel like that's going to get you to a place where this wheel of where your destiny and all of this stuff will make sense here, so that we're not feeling like, if you're resonating with this, if we're where we feel like we're just sort of like just existing, or we're just kind of getting by, or that it feels like that we're just kind of like, well, just settling into retirement, So I hope that makes sense, Cancer, because that's this has been, the Wheel of Fortune has been a pretty big topic for us, almost like every other reading, which I'm with it, Cancer, because this I feel like this is very important too. I feel like it's to the universe, really. Again, it's just I feel like it's trying to spark something in you, Cancer, get you excited about maybe just creating more, because I feel like it also too, I feel like this how things are shaped right now, it just makes us to where we're just consuming all the time. It doesn't promote where we're creating stuff, so yeah, that's I know the Wheel of Fortune is just a chatty one, Cancer, but it's a lot to think about. This is and Cancer, believe me, Cancer, it's when we're talking about this type of stuff here, and I'm trying to figure out how to convey stuff to try to get you motivated and pursue this stuff here. I don't want you to do things where you feel like you're being because I can't tell you what to do, Cancer. I don't know if you saw this new thing here. Oh, I still figure out where to point to it, but you're in a safe space, Cancer. But where was I going with that now? I can't tell you what to do, but I feel like it's if we want to. I feel like the best way that especially too, sometimes I feel like let me go about it a different route. Sometimes I feel like too, maybe we could feel like we're just getting a bunch of bad luck, or we just like, or we're sometimes I feel like a common thing I might have heard is like well, I've been dealt a crappy hand. Well, Cancer, it's only a crappy hand if that's how we keep looking at it. But it's just like, okay, if anything, these are the tools that these are the tools you have, and these are what we need to work on. Pick one to work on and go for, and work on that first. And just like, I feel like things are going to start unlocking for you, Cancer. That's Wheel of Fortune, fate, destiny, all of that. It's a tricky thing to try to explain, and it's going to be personal for everyone. Everyone's thing is going to be different here. It's just we have to. It's figuring out how we can work together in all of this while trying to figure out our stuff here, Cancer. So. I hope that made sense, because yeah, that's a lot to unpack. But let's see how we can work with this energy here. So that's what the next couple cards are going to be. So higher self, whew. What are some ways that Cancer can work with this energy here? Because yeah, it's some deep stuff, Cancer. You know, I get that. You know, I get that. Let's move on here. Okay. I'm with that. You got the Queen of Wands here. And Cancer, this is where I feel like when it comes to your Wheel of Fortune here, to your destiny, we're gonna need to be bolder in how we go about these things. We're gonna have to really kind of go against with how things have been programmed up until now. You know what I mean? Because the Queen of Wands, she's the type that usually on some of her cards, on like the Rider White, like the original one, she has like sunflowers planted in the ground, and the sunflowers face where the sun is facing. You know how what the sun's about. The sun is about our happiness here, and the Queen of Wands is the type that she's going to follow. She's in tune with where her happiness is, and she pours all her energy into that thing. You see this dragon here? She wants it. She sees it. She likes it. She wants it. She's got it. You know, that's the thing. And that's and I feel like that's how we have to go about what we want, you know, in life, and not just, you know, because it's more than just material stuff. You know, I feel like this is like destiny is what fulfills you, because this stuff is a bonus. You know what I mean? You know, I feel like sometimes we focus on, you know, I want to make X amount of money, you know, I want to have all these cars, I want to have all this stuff. And Cancer, I love stuff too. But the way to get that stuff and for all that things to come into our realm here is if we're doing stuff that makes us happy, Cancer. Because if we're if we're looking for someone to like give us like an allotment of just like, okay, you've done good work, thank you, Queen of Wands, here's your stuff, you know, I'll give you this much to go get your happiness here. And it's like, I hope that makes sense, Cancer, because it's like, it's like I was saying, no one can tell you how to get fulfilled. If you're not feeling fulfilled in what you're doing here, it's time to shift gears, you know, because that's the Queen of Wands. She's not going to stay, and it's again too, Cancer, you know, because the Queen of Wands, she, you know, it may sound like I'm telling you, it may sound like I'm just like, just go tackle this thing, you know, don't think about it, Cancer. Be strategic with this stuff here, you know, because the Queen of Wands, where sure she might be a little hot with it, you know, when she's you know, she might get a little hot, you know, when she finds what she loves and she wants to get this thing tackled right now. But it's just going to be one of those things, Cancer. It's just it's all going to fall into place here. You know what? Let's get a little bit more on that Queen of Wands. Higher self. Can we clarify the Queen of Wands, please? Let's see if I can, because I feel like there's some nuggets in there, or I could explain that a little bit more eloquently, Cancer. Nice. Okay, wow, perfect. Thank you, higher self. So the Queen of Wands is clarified by the Temperance, the Moon, and the Emperor. So, Cancer, there's with the Temperance card. The Temperance is a card of balance, you know, so we got to find balance with this energy here, you know, with this Queen of Wands. You know, I feel like, you know, finding what sparks this incitement here. That's going to be where your North Star is for this Wheel of Fortune. I feel like if you're feeling lost, you know, not sure where to go here, let that energy be your indicator. If you're feeling really geeked up about something here, explore that and see what that means, see how you can play around with this thing here. And also with the Moon popping up, that's your next card with the clarifier. The Moon is a card of illusions, and it's also a card of picking your path here. So I feel like Cancer is going to be one of those things. See through while you're exploring this energy here. Figure out what works, figure out what doesn't work. Be practical in this thing. Again, you know, practice temperance. We got to find a balance in this stuff here, because eventually this is going to fill up in our world here. This is all going to fall into place here, Cancer. Because then you remember when we talked about the Emperor last time, you know, it's about then when all this stuff starts lining up here, once we see through these illusions and we got a clear picture of what we want to do, then we take action. You know, we don't, because I feel like we get to this place where we want to be happy, and then we think about all the obstacles that get in our way, and then we stop. and then we're restricting our Queen of Wands here, and then we get to a place of where we're not feeling fulfilled, and then sometimes I can get to a place where where the Queen of Wands wants to get out of here. That Emperor wants, that fire energy is going to want to break out, and it'll just pop out in weird ways. Cancer, I'm not sure. I hope you're following me here, because that's how I feel like we're going to get to our destiny here. It's really going to be a manage. It's that, not just even just the starting, but the follow through. It's and then figuring out that groove here. Temperance it's going to be rocky along the way here. She's, look at her. She's her being able to stand up on one leg like that, it took some time, it took some practice, it took some temperance. It takes balance. So it's going to be something, Cancer, that it's. We're going to move on, but I hope that makes sense what I'm saying here. Let's get to your because Cancer, when we talk about this destiny here, I'll keep you here all day. Let's get to your next card here, which is we're still working with the energies. What are some other ways that Cancer can work with this energy higher self? Okay. You got the Five of Wands here, Cancer, and I like that. The Five of Wands is a card of conflict here. You see all these witches here? I feel like that's our mental state, Cancer. I feel like sometimes when we think about our destiny, and then when we think about taking action, when we think about, we get really excited at first. The Queen of Wands is just like, yes, like, okay, this is something that excites me. I think like I could do this, and that. But then we get into this place, imagine it's like, well, what about your bills here? What about your kids if you have kids? What about your partner? What about your friends? What about your family? What about your dogs? What about your, what if, and you see how that can get, it gets so chaotic, that it gets to a place where we can talk ourselves out of things. And I feel like with the Five of Wands popping up, this is asking us, to keep that follow through. Cancer, if you find something that inspires you, you don't have to get this figured out tonight. It's just like, as long as we're just taking actions now, that just to show, just to give this Wheel of Fortune here an indicator that this is what you're looking for, because the Wheel of Fortune is just right now, if it's like, it's just like you get in the car, you start your car, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna go do this thing, and it's just like, well, crap, I may run over a nail. What if I get in a car accident? What if I do this? And it's like, what, I think I'm just gonna stay at home, and then I'm just gonna be. I feel like that might have hit a little bit better, but I hope that makes sense, Cancer. I feel like it's about the Five of Wands is about quieting that conflict in our minds, if that's what's been going on here. Getting an approach, and then Emperor, follow through. Come on, because you got big stuff working with you, Cancer. You got all the energy. If Queen of Wands, you told Queen of Wands she's fueled by Temperance, the Moon, and the Emperor. She's gone. She's gone. She's halfway there to get her fortune there. So let's keep it moving, Cancer. Let's get to some challenges. Let's see if maybe we can get kind of get a clear picture on these, what might be kind of halting us here. So higher self, what are some challenges that might be preventing Cancer from getting to this Wheel of Fortune here? Let's see what's going with that. Five of Cups, absolutely, Cancer. And I feel like with this, I really feel like it's because the Five of Cups, is a card of letting go. Any sort of it's like how I was saying, we could focus on like the negative stuff here, because she's crying over these spilled cups of wine here, Cancer. But if you look behind her here, the party is not ruined. There's a whole banquet behind her here. There's probably still at least, let's see, three glasses, depending on how high she filled them. There should be at least half a bottle of wine left. And who knows, if you got some good people coming with you, they'll bring some wine as well, Cancer. So that whole analogy to say, if we have some old, any sort of like ways of thinking that are getting in the way of this Wheel of Fortune, Cancer, let's switch up that paradigm in our head here. Let's maybe practice something I've been doing. I might have mentioned this before. It's like, practicing affirmations. That's one way. Maybe when you find yourself getting in a spiral here, remind yourself, wait a minute. It's like, oh, well, I'm not sure if I can do this. I'm not sure if maybe this is not meant to be. It's like, wait a minute. I'm the Queen of Wands. I can have whatever I want. I can have what my heart desires, my happiness, my fulfillment here, and it'll snap you out of that, Cancer, when we get into that, when you find yourself getting into that negative loop here. Another thing too, gratitude. That's another one. And I was just talking with a friend about this. Gratitude is a hard one, and I feel like not just saying like, oh well, I'm grateful for the cards, which I am, but being genuinely grateful for what is going on here, even if you're in lack. Could a situation be better, Cancer? Of course, it can always be better, but that's the part of the journey. We're trying to make our lives better. Always we're trying to make it better here. But what are we thankful for now? Because higher self, wherever you're at in your journey right now, Cancer, you're exactly where you need to be in this at this moment in time. And it's like, what does that mean? And taking all your surroundings here and really just play around with that, Cancer. See how that works out for you there. Let's get to your let's get another card here. Let's see what are some other challenges that might be getting in the way of kind of getting to this Wheel of Fortune. Higher self, what are some other challenges that Cancer might be facing at this time? Let's see what's going on here, Cancer. Yup. Excuse, that was glib. You got the Tower here, Cancer, and I see so. It's just like with the five of Cups, because I almost said that. I was like, this is basically a Tower thing. It's like it's out with the old ways of thinking and in with some new ways of thinking. I feel like we need to get into this place of shifting just our paradigm. Again. Because the Tower too, when we're going through Tower moments are there to show us where things aren't working. If you're feeling some kind of dissonance, what is that? Why? And if you find yourself, if it feels like you've just been in like back-to-back Tower moments, it's like, what is that? What is it that's going on energetically that's not working? Really kind of sit with yourself, Cancer, analyze what's going on in your realm that just doesn't seem to be working right, and be honest with yourself, Cancer, and then meditate on that. Because sometimes too, when we deal with these, when we face the moon and realize that that this is the source of my unhappiness, or that this is the thing that, because I'm sure deep down, Cancer, what's getting in the way of your Wheel of Fortune here. It's like there are some signs there. It's just paying attention to them. It's just being aware of them. It's bringing some mindfulness into your environment here and figuring out what's not working here. We're on shaky foundation. We're trying to get to our destiny here. So yeah, Cancer, that's where I really feel like the challenge is very clear. It's time to figure out what are some ways that we can what are some things that we can let go here, because I really feel like that's where we're going to start, where then the progress is going to, the momentum is going to start happening here. We can tap into that Chariot energy. So higher self, let's get to the last card here, which is just going to be some closing thoughts on this thing. So higher self, what are some lessons that we can get from this energy today? Let's see what we got for Cancer here. Absolutely, Cancer. Strength card here. And you know what? Let's switch back over, because with the Strength card, Cancer, I feel like maybe some of us don't feel like we can do this thing. We feel like maybe that if I had to guess, Cancer, because this is just me, this is just me speculating here. Usually the things that are keeping us in the way that are for getting us our fulfillment are money, honestly, I feel like money. Money's like the top one. And I feel like, again, if you ask yourself, what is the thing that you would do that regardless of if you got paid or not, it would still bring you joy. It would still bring you fulfillment. That might be something to think about here, because it was, it's, because I feel like too, Cancer, I feel like with the two, or with the Strength card popping up as well in the lessons here, you're stronger than Cancer. I feel like we really get into this place of just like where we doubt what we're capable of here, because Cancer, other than these fives here, it's Major Arcana City with the it's you chilling in Major Arcana energy here, Cancer. And you know what, I've been doing some research and stuff this here weekend, Cancer, and fives in numerology have to deal with I want to, if I'm recalling right, do some extra research on this. But I want to say fives, if I'm remember correctly, are numbers of freedom. And kind of like, so I feel like this is just like asking you to kind of like break free, Cancer. Free yourself from this cage that people, that society is trying to keep you in. You have tornadoes to make here. Let's shake things up a little bit. Whip up a storm. Let's tower. Let's tower this whole thing here, Cancer. I feel like there's and this may be this might this may be a little over dramatic here, but I feel like Cancer, with this energy here, this is like Renaissance potential energy here. Like we could really do some kind of change here for the good, and I'm not saying, go start an uprising, Cancer. You know what I mean. But I feel like that we can be in a place more so where we're just like creating more, where we can be doing what we want. So, I'm going to leave that there because, I can talk about that all day, Cancer. It's, and I'm sure, we have all week to talk about it. So, I'll leave that there, Cancer. So if you like that as much as I did, give that a good old thumbs up. Share this thing, Cancer. If we know someone who's going through this thing, it could be too, if you got someone who, might be in a similar situation, because I feel like sometimes, if you pay attention to your conversations, if you notice that you're having like a similar, people are kind of vibing similar with you, you notice that maybe there's this wanting, this yearning for more here, in your environment. Pay attention to that, because maybe there's something there that maybe we can kind of work together and kind of piggyback off our energy here to kind of grow and kind of support each other to go do more stuff here. Because the Five of Wands too, the Five of Wands is normally, I was more so intuitively getting like a mental strife and combat here, but this is normally a card of like arguments and, conflicts and whatnots here. So I feel like too, working together with people, collaborating, that could help inspire stuff here. But getting back into your reading, subscribe, hit that bell button, you'll get notified when I release videos each week. I'm getting better about being all over Facebook. And lastly, once you Cancer, and I told you I'm working on this thing, and I have something that I'm cooking up here. But until then, if you get some time, I'm assuming you've checked your sun, but check your moon, check your rising, check your chart. And then after that, check out Alchemist 8. I do videos, monthly readings each week with a different theme. It's a good old time, Cancer. All that description is down. All that stuff is down in the description box below. But let me get your surprise card here so I can get you out of here. Because Cancer, we got some things that celebration is coming here. We have some happiness on the horizon here, because you got the Six of Wands here. And the Six of Wands is a card of you've been going on a long journey. Normally on another deck of mine, it's this guy that's sitting on this horse, and he's coming in, and there's this, and it's pretty much similar to here. She's got all these people celebrating her here, but it's like, it's celebrating the fact that you've been on this journey to try to find your destiny here, and now that you started to see some momentum, you started to see some things are starting to manifest, things are, the energies are working better, you're feeling better. This is a card of just, it's a card of just that win, and it could be too, maybe for some of us, maybe whatever this destiny thing is here, maybe might require us, for some, to maybe have to be in the limelight, or have to, because, the Emperor is leadership energy. This is, it could be like managerial per se, or it could be managerial, supervisory, but that this is very leader energy here. And I feel like maybe for some of us, maybe if something that's holding us back is maybe that we're afraid of the limelight, because that's another thing, the Six of Wands, it's a card of fame, card of being in that public eye, maybe that's something too, that we might be afraid of, maybe worried about what people may think about us, whatever, take that as it resonates. But I feel like if that's the case, Cancer, if you're trying to do some healing here, if you're going to do some really good work, let everybody see you. Because because here's the thing: if you do get negative responses from the public, then at least you got people talking about you. At least you got your because where it all balances out, Cancer. If you're trying to do you're putting great out there, you're raising that vibration. It's the universe is going to get respond back to that. So. I hope this made sense, Cancer. I know this is very deep, and I know that this is something that I feel like I feel like this is going to be kind of the theme the next, at least definitely throughout this year, but I feel like going on, I feel like there's going to be a wanting for more. I feel like people are going to realize that there's more to life than what we've been presented, and that we can manifest that whenever we feel like it. So whew, all right, that was a long one, Cancer. So I'll let you get to it. We got some pondering to do, and so stay safe out there, Cancer. You keep eyes on the moon, work with that energy, Cancer, and I will catch you on the next one tomorrow.